Hello, welcome to Colonel O'Truth's Miniature Issues. In today's episode, I'm constructing Downspire Bridge, a rope bridge far above the city. I'll be making miniature ropes from wire, weaving the bridge together, and finally installing tiny planks so that the occupants of the Downspire can get where they need to go. This is Undercrag City. Connecting the Downspire to High Keep Lane by way of a rope bridge is going to take a lot of attention to detail. I'm taking measurements, and where I can't fit my ruler, I'm using slips of balsa wood as guides. Unusually for me, I'm gonna have to do some planning. I'm mapping out the space where the bridge needs to go. Each of the uprights is a slightly different height, where they need to wedge in between the matchsticks I've already built in. Here I'm drawing the bridge in side view, actual size. I can use this as a guide for my wires. The two different sides are subtly different lengths. And now in plan view, seen from above. And finally, a flattened out plan for my ropes. Time to start making rope. I'm using electrical wire, cutting it longer than it needs to be, and stripping off the insulation. Stripping in short sections like this makes it easier to remove the insulation. Having removed the insulation, I select a bunch of strands, just over half of what's there, and twist them together to give a rope of the right thickness. I cut away what I don't need. I'm twisting this nice and tightly. That's one. I've got 4 long pieces for the length of the bridge, and I need about 8 or 10 shorter pieces to run across. So let's make a start. I take one of my long wires and push a pin through, working it around to create a hole. This should be just big enough to thread another wire through. Then I twist tightly to close the hole. Compare that to my drawing and cut away a little bit of the surplus. Time to do the next one. Keep those twisted nice and tight. And there's a second one. At this point, the wires are able to move around a little, but I'm going to fix that. With all of them in place, I'm getting my pin and pushing it through the knot where they meet. I get a single strand of wire and feed it through where my pin went. I can wrap this around the join several times. Tighten it off and cut off the ends. There, that one's tied in place. Now I just have to do all of the others. Each time I'm lining up my wires against my drawing. It will gradually become more accurate and stable. If you're enjoying all of this rather fiddly work, and you haven't already, please remember to subscribe to the channel. And why not give us a like and share with your friends? This little community is growing very, very quickly. I love receiving your comments and questions, and I endeavour to answer every single one. Thank you. There, that's my two main ropes done. Now I'm doing the sides. I'm securing the first join so that it doesn't slip around. Then I work my way along, feeding the rope through each of the others and securing each join. That's one side complete. And there's the other one. Now I'll tidy up some ends. Now to bend the sides up. Starting to look like a bridge. I've got some brass foil here and some super glue, and I'm going to put a blob on each of the knots. This will just stop any frayed ends flying around and things falling apart. When that's dry, I can cut much closer to the knots and get rid of all those little pointy bits. That's better. And it looks about the right size. Now I need to think about my supports. As I mentioned earlier, each of the verticals is a slightly different length, and I need them all to wedge tightly into the model when I install the bridge. I need some horizontals too. Now at this point, I'm planning my horizontals to sit under the structures I've already got in place. Later on I'll change my mind and fit them between. You'll see what I mean. Here I'm checking my verticals. So far, so good. It's a bit fiddly. And checking my horizontals for length. Everything's looking all right so far. I'm going to attach my 4 verticals to the bridge by way of loops, in the same way as I have done on my ropes on Pipistrelle Street and the downspire. I wrap the wire around a matchstick and twist. There, all 4 are in, and I've marked the front edge of the bridge with some blue masking tape so I remember which way around I'm going. Now to put my horizontals in. Here I've caused a problem for myself by cutting off too much of the wire. I haven't left much room for twisting. I've ended up with a loose matchstick, which I'll have to add in later. But let's see how that's going. It's not quite right. Those ropes at the end shouldn't be pointing upwards. But it's not bad. You may have noticed I have a very clean new mat. Well, here's my old one, set aside for painting. This is a bit of common sense that had never occurred to me until I saw it on Boily Hobby Time. Go and check out that channel, it's excellent. Anyway, this is my usual light grey undercoat. I'm trying to get a good coverage on everything. Obviously the wire is a little fiddly, it may need 2 coats in places. But I don't want copper showing through. When the grey is dry, everything gets a dark brown ink wash. Again, being very thorough. Now, as usual for my timber, pale yellow dry brushing, followed by white. I'm trying to only get this on the wood, but if I do go over the edges, it won't matter too much. Here's the white. And when that's dry, I go over it all again with brown ink. Not bad so far. At last it's time to install this into the rest of the model. I've cut the horizontal supports to go between the timbers, you can see, rather than underneath as before. This is very fiddly. I need to get 6 pieces wedged into place, and the wire is pulling everything in different directions. As I put one piece in, another one moves. But gradually I'm getting there. The last post keeps popping out. So I'm going to add a tiny piece of paper just to add that extra little bit of height, just at the base of the post, and wedge it back in. There. We're in place. Handling the bridge so much took off some of the paint, so I'm adding grey undercoat again, and I'll go over this with brown ink when it's dry. The ink on its own won't adhere to the bare copper. These are strips of basswood I'd already prepared when I made the handrails for the downspire in the last episode. I'm going to use them to make the treads on the bridge. I'm using PVA, a blob at a time, and a plank at a time. I should be able to fit 2 planks in each of the spaces between the upright ropes. I'm going to start at one end and work my way along. It's very fiddly work. When I've got about halfway, I continue from the other end towards the middle again. My trusty pointy stick is getting a lot of work today. Almost there. These planks have a tendency to stick to each other and lie sideways instead of flat, Got the odd little gap here and there. I'm just trying to fill those in as well. It takes 2 or 3 attempts. But eventually there we are. There's some more touching up to do. And we're done. Downspire Bridge. Frankly, not for the faint-hearted. I think it would take a very special kind of person to cross this every single day. From here to the cobbles of Southgate Square is a fall of some 15 stories. Anyway, I hope I haven't given you vertigo, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.